Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings for Friday, December the 16th. We do have a decent sized Friday night slate, a little 10 gamer tonight. So as always guys, we're going to talk through each one of these 10 games. I'm going to give you guys my quick and early thoughts on the slate. Going to go game by game, just give a quick breakdown. Since it is a 10 game slate, I'm going to try and go a little bit faster through these 10 games. But before we do get started with the breakdown, talking through some plays I like for today, as always, if you guys do enjoy these DFS videos, if they do help you out, please hit that like button down below, hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. And if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to check out the sponsor of the video, PrizePicks. So PrizePicks, they are a player prop based DFS site, very simple and easy to use. You're just taking more or less on a player's projection. They do already have a few projections posted. Not much is up on the board right now. I'm making this video on Thursday night, so they don't have a ton available right now. But if you check the board again on Friday, late Friday afternoon, you'll see their full board posted with projections from just about every game. And you can see if there's anything that stands out to you. You're just taking more or less on a player's projection. It's very simple, very easy to do. You have to make at least 2 picks, but you can make up to 6 picks, and you can win up to 25x your money on PrizePicks. So give them a try, guys. Sign up with that promo code NOAH, and you will get your first deposit matched up to $100. But let's go and talk through Friday night slate. 10 gamers should be a fun one. We'll start off with the first game of the night, Atlanta and Charlotte. And looking at the Atlanta side here, no Clint Capella for Atlanta today is kind of the big news. And then they're still without DeJounte Murray. They're still without John Collins. But starting off with Trae Young, I think at 10K, Trae Young looks like one of my favorite pay-up options. It's a first look. I'm recording this video on Thursday night, so we'll have to see any news we get during the day that could change things. But really like this spot for Trae Young. Now that Charlotte has LaMelo Ball back, I think you're going to start to see this Hornets team play at a faster pace like they did last season. And they've not really been that great of a defensive team. I mean, they haven't been as bad defensively as they were last season. But I still think it's a really good spot for Trae Young. He's going to play huge minutes here. His usage is going to be massive. I mean, he's been taking a ton of shots lately. His assist rate has been massive. You look at the last few games without DeJounte, 14 assists, 16 assists. He's not even been shooting the ball that well lately, and he's still been putting up decent games. When Trae finally has a good shooting game, he could put up like 55, 60 DraftKings points. He definitely has that upside, and 10K is not that expensive for Trae playing without DeJounte, so I definitely like Trae Young today. One of my favorite pay-up options for sure. The rest of the Atlanta guys, though, so I think Bogdanovic, he was really, really chalky last slate. He was only 5K. Today, he's 6K. I think this is a much more appropriate price tag for Bogdan. He is still viable at this salary, but I'm not as interested in him now that he is 6K. I think he's not as strong of a play at this salary. But we do have some value here. So, DeAndre Hunter is going to continue to play pretty good minutes without DeJounte, without John Collins. He should have, pretty decent usage rate, should take a decent amount of shots. He was shooting the ball really, really well last game. 6 for 14 from the field, 4 for 9 from 3. He had a really good game, 38 DraftKings points. His price tag is still fairly low, only $5,100. I think DeAndre Hunter is definitely a solid value for today. I think he's viable. And I think Onyeka Okongwu is one of the better values right now. We obviously love this matchup for bigs. I mean, Charlotte has been a team that's just been giving up a ton of fancy points to centers this season. Okongwu is going to play big minutes here. I'm pretty sure in every start he's made for Capella this season, he's played almost 30 minutes. So I'm expecting 30, if not more than 30 minutes for Okongwu today. 4,700, definitely too cheap here for one of the best possible matchups. Really like him as a value play. I think him and DeAndre Hunter look pretty solid. And then, guys like Jalen Johnson, these guys are like dart throws you could maybe take a shot on, but I think on a 10-game slate, I'm probably not going to consider those guys. It's mainly Trae and Okongwu are my 2 favorite plays here, but I think Bogdan's viable. I think DeAndre Hunter's viable. Maybe you could take a shot on Jalen Johnson as a large field GBP dart throw, but that's really it for the Hawks. Now, on the other side with Charlotte, so LaMelo Ball's coming in at 8K. We got word that LaMelo Ball was going to be on a minutes limit last game. He was going to play in short bursts. He played 34 minutes. I think that game did go into overtime, if I remember correctly. I'm not 100% sure if LaMelo played in overtime or not, but the fact that he played 34 minutes last game makes me feel somewhat good that he's going to play close to normal minutes today. 8K is not expensive for LaMelo Ball. When LaMelo Ball's fully healthy, he's a 9K player. So I think this price tag kind of looks appealing for LaMelo. I think this should be a relatively fast-paced, high-scoring game. And the fact that he played 34 minutes in his first game back from injury, I don't know if that was their plan to play him that many minutes, but the fact that he played that much makes me somewhat confident he's going to play over 30 minutes again. So I'm definitely interested in LaMelo, but with LaMelo back, I don't really have a ton of interest in Hayward or Rozier or Oubre. Hayward is it is possible that he could play today. He's listed as questionable. Even if he's back, I really don't have any interest in him. I think LaMelo's the one guy that I'm interested in from Charlotte. PJ Washington, Mason Plumlee, none of these guys really stand out either. So that's really it for this game. We can go ahead and move on to the next one, talk about Sacramento and Detroit. So for Sacramento, really good spot here going up against the Pistons. The Pistons have been one of the worst defensive teams in the league this year. Domantas Sabonis is 9,600. This feels like an appropriate price tag for Sabonis, but he definitely has upside in this matchup. He's more of a GPP option at the salary, but he should play big minutes here. It's a good spot. I don't have an issue going to Sabonis. Really like De'Aaron Fox, though. I think this is a really good matchup for De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox has kind of had some tougher matchups lately, going up against Milwaukee, Philly, Toronto. He even had a really good game last game against Toronto, put up 53 DK points in kind of a tough matchup. Well, now he gets one of the best possible matchups. I know Detroit, in general, they've been a terrible defensive team this season. They've also really struggled to defend point guards, and we saw De'Aaron Fox put up 48 DraftKings points in 35 minutes against the Pistons earlier this season. At 8,100, this price tag is way too low for De'Aaron Fox. In this matchup, that now that he's back to full strength, played 41 minutes last game. If we're getting anywhere near like 35, 36 minutes from Fox here at this salary in this matchup, he can easily pay off this price tag. So really like De'Aaron Fox. I think he's a really good play at that salary. Kevin Huerter's questionable, so this will be something to keep an eye on. If he plays, I'm not super interested in him. If he gets ruled out, I think the guys that will benefit most will be Malik Monk, Terrence Davis, and Keegan Murray. I think gets a little boost as well. Last game, Monk came off the bench, but he played 33 minutes, was relatively productive. I think Monk would be a viable option if Huerter does not play. I think we could also look to Keegan Murray. Keegan Murray was not that great last game, but he played pretty good minutes. I think his minutes would be pretty secure without Kevin Huerter. And then we did see Terrence Davis draw the start in place of Kevin Huerter. He played 25 minutes, was pretty productive, had 28 DraftKings points. His price tag is still pretty cheap, 3,900. Definitely going to be interested in Terrence Davis as a value play, if Kevin Huerter's out again. So that'll be something to keep an eye on. Luckily, this is one of the first games of the night, so we'll have that news before lock. But on the Pistons side, I don't love a ton from the Pistons today outside of one guy. Bojan is fine, like at 6,600, but on a 10-game slate, I'm not really going to consider Bojan, I don't think. The one guy that I do like from Detroit that really stands out is Jalen Duran. He's 4,400. He's been starting at center lately. I think he has started their last 3 games at center. 28 minutes against Memphis, 24 minutes against the Lakers. Last game against Charlotte, he played 36 minutes. That was the most minutes he's played all season, I'm pretty sure. He was really productive as well. He had 38 DraftKings points in those 36 minutes. He's been a really, really good rebounder this season. That's where he does a lot of his damage is on the glass. I don't know if this is like the best rebounding matchup going up against Sabonis, who's a pretty good rebounder. But if we're going to get anywhere near 30 minutes from Jalen Duran, he has shown that when he gets minutes, he can average around a fantasy point per minute. The price tag at 4,400 is definitely still too low. So I do like him as a value play. I think he's a strong option. He's the one guy that I do like from Detroit. Not too much else, though, stands out on this Pistons team. So we'll move on, go ahead and move on to the next game, the Magic and the Celtics. Man, not one that I'm really excited about. Boston playing at home here is probably going to get ugly. I think we could see a blowout here. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown both obviously offer plenty of upside, and I think it's a decent matchup for both. But on this slate, I just don't think these guys are going to be guys that I really pay up for. We do have word that Robert Williams is most likely going to make his season debut for the Celtics. So like with Robert Williams back, I don't know if that affects Tatum and Brown too much, but it's just another guy that could soak up rebounds, could take rebounds away from those guys. Horford is questionable. He can maybe come back for this game. I just don't really like much on Boston today. Somebody could do well here because Orlando's a bad defensive team, but the price tags on these guys doesn't make anyone stand out, and obviously there's a lot of blowout risk in this game. Now, I do want to mention Robert Williams. He is only 4,500. That's really cheap for Robert Williams. Don't really know how many minutes he's going to play, though. He's for sure going to be on a minutes limit. It's just a matter of how many minutes can he play. Like, he might play 20, 22 minutes. I mean, I don't know. It's probably on a 10-game slate, probably not a guy you can really consider, but that $4,500 salary is cheap. I mean, Robert Williams is not going to be $4,500 for the rest of the season, but obviously, right now, he's probably not going to play full minutes, so he's honestly probably priced appropriately since he's going to be on a minutes limit. But yeah, that's it for Boston. And on Orlando, Orlando might just be a full fade for me today. It's a tough spot. There's a lot of blowout risk here. I don't really like mini Magic on this slate. No one really stands out of their price tag. Markelle Fultz had a good game last game. He might be the one guy I'd go to, but this is obviously not the best spot. Definitely would expect him to regress a little bit in this matchup. Honestly, keeping it simple, man, I just think Orlando's a full fade for me. And if someone from Orlando puts up a huge game, then so be it. But I don't see myself rostering mini Magic today. So let's move on to the next game, Indiana and Cleveland. Starting off on Indiana, we got Tyrese Halliburton at 9,400. Halliburton had a really big game last game against the Warriors. 48 DraftKings points, played 34 minutes. Don't love the spot against Cleveland. Definitely a tougher matchup. I think Halliburton on this slate is just more of like a GPP option, not a standout play. Miles Turner's price tag's kind of affordable, reasonable, I guess, 6,900, but obviously really tough matchup against Cleveland, who's a really good defensive team, and especially against bigs. Cleveland's really good. I'm not super excited about really many Indiana guys today. And then on the Cleveland side, I could definitely get behind some Cleveland guys just because Indiana does play at a really fast pace. It's a big-time pace-up spot here for the Cavs. Donovan Mitchell, I don't think it's like a core play or anything, but I think at 8,600, he is a viable tournament option. He definitely has upside in this game, type of game environment, where the Cavs will be playing up in pace. So Mitchell's viable. Evan Mobley, don't love, though, at that salary. Darius Garland, I think, is a viable option. I think it's a pretty good spot for Jared Allen. We've seen centers have some good games against the Pacers this year, but the 7K price tag just makes Jared Allen kind of a GPP play. There's really not many standout plays in this Indiana-Cleveland game. I think if I was going to take a shot on anyone, it probably would be like Mitchell, maybe Garland, maybe Allen. But these guys are just like large field GPP plays. No standout options from this one. So let's move on to the next game, Brooklyn and Toronto. We'll start off with Brooklyn. You got Kevin Durant coming in at 10,900, Kyrie Irving coming in at 8,500. I think once again, if I'm choosing between the two Brooklyn guys, I'm probably going to go to Kyrie Irving here just for the savings. Now, this is a Toronto team I don't really like to target, but without OG Anunoby, their defense is definitely not going to be as strong, and I think it's a better individual matchup for KD. If OG was playing, I definitely would be worried about KD, and KD is not a guy that I get too worried about when it comes to matchup, but OG's been such a strong defender this year, and OG's done a pretty good job limiting KD this season, but obviously, OG's not playing today, so I think it's a fine spot for KD, but at 10-9, he doesn't really stand out today. I think Kyrie Irving is the guy that I'd rather go to. He's only 8,500. We've seen Kyrie put up similar production to KD, and he's been outscoring him lately in some of these games as well. Kyrie's been playing huge minutes. He should once again play huge minutes tonight. And last time they played Toronto, he had a pretty decent game. 43 DK points, played 39 minutes. I definitely think it's a better matchup for Kyrie than it is for KD. And given the price savings, I probably would rather go to Kyrie if I had to choose one of those guys. The rest of Brooklyn, though, I'm not super interested in. Ben Simmons is 6,500. He's been playing limited minutes, though, as of late, and we don't really know how many minutes he's going to play today. So until his minutes come up, I really can't go to Simmons. Claxton, don't love at 6,200. He's not that interesting on this slate. I'm not really considering anyone else on Brooklyn, I don't think. And then on the Toronto side, you got Pascal Siakam coming in at 10,500. Siakam's a fine play on this slate. I think it is a pretty good matchup for him against Brooklyn. I know he had a really big game against Brooklyn earlier this season. Last time they played, he was just kind of mediocre, but when they played at the beginning of the year, he had a triple-double, 72 DraftKings points. We've seen Brooklyn struggle to rebound this season. We've seen Brooklyn give up some big games to centers. So I think Siakam's viable. I think he is a playable option, even at an expensive price tag. The rest of Toronto, though, VanVleet, 8K. VanVleet finally had a good game last game. 66 DraftKings points, played 38 minutes. We do know that VanVleet's going to play huge minutes, and he should get a little bit of a usage boost without OG. The 8K price tag doesn't make him really stand out today, but I think VanVleet's viable. I think Scotty Barnes is viable. Gary Trent was pretty bad last game. Shot 5 for 9, only played 25 minutes. I think he might have gotten into some early foul trouble, if I remember correctly. Don't love him on a 10-game slate. If I was going to play anyone on Toronto, it would be the top three guys, Siakam, VanVleet, Scotty Barnes. But don't love a ton in this game. Favorite play overall is probably like Kyrie, but I don't see myself really targeting anyone here, at least not like in my main lineup. If I was playing a lot of lineups, I'd probably get some exposure to some of those guys we mentioned, but for my main single entry team, I just don't see much I like here. So let's move on to the next game, talk about Golden State and Philadelphia. So we'll start off with Golden State. They're going to be a team you definitely want to target today. No Steph Curry, no Andrew Wiggins. Without Steph Curry and Wiggins, we can expect really big roles for Jordan Poole, really big role for Klay Thompson. Don't know if Draymond Green's role changes too much. He's questionable as well, so that's worth mentioning. We'll have to wait and see if he actually plays for this game. But definitely the guys that should really, kind of carry the offense should be Jordan Poole and Klay Thompson. Now, Jordan Poole's not cheap. He's 8,200. But he should have a really big role here, play really big minutes. He's going to have the ball in his hands a ton, going to take a ton of shots. I don't hate the matchup against Philadelphia. I think 8,200 is an appropriate price tag for Poole here, but he's definitely in play with Steph out. And I think Klay Thompson feels a little bit too cheap at 7,100. Definitely like him in the mid-range today. He should play big minutes here. He's been playing like 36, 37 minutes in competitive games. Should get a ton of shot volume. Hopefully he can shoot the ball well. Klay's not a guy that I love playing in DFS just because he's a really scoring-dependent player. And if he's not hitting his shots, he's going to disappoint just because he doesn't really rebound a ton. He doesn't really get a ton of assists. But it's very likely that he takes like 20, 25 shots tonight. So Klay Thompson at 7,100, I still think is appealing. Draymond, if he plays, he's okay, but I don't really think Draymond's role changes, without Steph. If anything, it might be bad for Draymond to play without Steph because Draymond gets a lot of assists through Steph. Draymond's not a guy that's really going to do much scoring. So at 6K, I'm not super interested in Draymond, even if he's in. Dante DiVincenzo did start last game, and I'm assuming he will continue to start. He played 38 minutes, and he was pretty productive, had 32 Draftkings points. Price tag did come up to 5,700, but I think DiVincenzo looks like a solid option in the mid-range, obviously assuming that he does start again. And they'll have to see what the rest of the starting lineup looks like. Last game, obviously Curry played. It was Curry, Poole, DiVincenzo. It probably will be that same lineup, except Klay replacing Curry. So it would be Poole, Klay, DiVincenzo, Draymond if he plays in Looney. I'm guessing that's what the starting lineup will be. Now, if Draymond gets ruled out, then we might see a guy like Jonathan Kuminga start. Kuminga played pretty well off the bench last game, and I assume he would start in place of Draymond, maybe. I'm not 100% sure on that, but at 4,900, if Draymond does get ruled out, I would have some interest in Kuminga as a value. Not really considering anyone else on Golden State, though. I think most of the starters look appealing, though. Poole, Klay, DiVincenzo, I'm interested in those three guys specifically. Now, on the other side with Philadelphia, you got Joel Embiid coming in at 11,500. Joel Embiid's one of these guys that, like, right now, I have no issue paying for Embiid on any slate. He's just matchup proof at this point. He's going to put up a huge game, feels like almost every night. Was a little bit disappointing last game, but that was obviously a blowout. He didn't play at all in the fourth quarter. Still put up 45 Draftkings points in just 3 quarters. Like, that just shows you the kind of upside that Embiid has right now. He's taken a ton of shots on a nightly basis. Even with James Harden back, that really hasn't impacted Embiid much. I don't think Embiid's like a priority today, but he is definitely viable on the slate if you want to go there. Harden at 9,900 feels priced about right. His production's been pretty strong lately, though. 57, 57, 62 Draftkings points over his last 3 games. He's been playing big minutes, been contributing in all categories, doing James Harden things, getting points, rebounds, and assists. That's what we know he's going to do. Golden State plays fast, so I think this sets up as kind of a good matchup for James Harden. He's playable if you want to go there. But the rest of Philadelphia, Tobias Harris, D'Anthony Melton, none of these other guys stand out. It's really just Harden and Embiid, and that's probably it from the Sixers. So let's go ahead and move on to the next game. We got 4 more to go over, guys. We got the Knicks and the Bulls playing today. So pretty sure we just saw these teams play a couple days ago. I know Julius Randle had a really big game against Chicago, put up 57 DK points, played 46 minutes. I'm pretty sure that game did go to overtime. We've been seeing Julius Randle play really big minutes in competitive games as of late. At 8,700, he's not like a standout option today, but I think he's definitely viable for GPPs. I think Jalen Brunson and RJ Barrett are both viable for GPPs. Really not in love with anyone else on the Knicks, though. And then on the other side with the Bulls, this is just not a team I'm that excited about when they're fully healthy. DeRozan at 8,300, he's an okay option, but I don't love the spot against the Knicks. The Knicks, they've been playing at a faster pace this season, but the $8,300 salary just doesn't really make DeRozan stand out. Levine and Vooch both feel priced about right. On a 10-game slate, I really don't see myself rostering many Bulls today. Honestly, this game's not that appealing overall, but if you want to take a shot on like Randall or Brunson or Barrett, I'm fine with that as like a large field GPP play. But let's move on to the next game. Not a ton to love in that one. So Minnesota and OKC. This is one that I'm definitely going to be interested in, especially on the Minnesota side, depending on who's actually playing for Minnesota today. Starting off with OKC though, you got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander coming in at 9,700. I don't love this matchup against Minnesota. They're probably going to put Jaden McDaniels on SGA. Jaden McDaniels been a good defender this season, but the price tag on SGA has come down. He's been playing huge minutes as of late. We know he's going to play huge minutes in competitive games, and both these teams do play at a really fast pace. I'm pretty sure OKC and Minnesota are both top 5 in pace this season, so this should be a fast-paced, high-scoring game. Even though it might be a tougher individual matchup for SGA, he's someone that I'm definitely interested in today. I think Trae Young stands out a little bit more, and I think choosing between SGA or Trae Young, I would side with Trae Young. But at 9,700, I definitely think SGA is in play today. The rest of OKC, though, I'm pretty much off of. I just, Giddey, his minutes have kind of been all over the place. The price tag I don't love. Dort's the same thing. I just really don't ever play Lou Dort. Maybe Jalen Williams for value I could get behind. He has been playing pretty consistent minutes lately. His price tag is still somewhat reasonable. It's a 10-game slate, so I don't really see myself building around Jalen Williams, but as like a last piece in, I think he's fine. But that's really it for OKC. Or at least, one more guy I guess I do want to mention. So Darius Bazley did start at center last game in place of JRE. Bazley played decent minutes. Yeah, he played 31 minutes. He had 25 DK points. If Bazley does start at center again, I think he will be a value play worth considering. Bazley historically has been a decent per minute producer when he gets the opportunity. Obviously, if Rudy Gobert plays, I don't love the matchup against Gobert, but 3,500 is cheap for Bazley if he's going to start again and play 30 minutes. So yeah, I did want to mention him as a value play. Him and SJ are the two guys that really stand out from OKC. And then on the other side with Minnesota, so the big news to keep an eye on here is D'Angelo Russell and Rudy Gobert are both questionable. This is obviously really important news. So first off with Rudy Gobert, if Rudy Gobert plays today, it's a fantastic matchup against OKC. I know last time these teams played, Rudy Gobert got ejected after just 9 minutes. He should have crushed in that game because it's, OKC, this is like the best possible matchup for Gobert. OKC struggles to rebound. They give up points in the paint. And that's where Rudy Gobert is going to do all of his damage in the paint, on the offensive glass, and that's where OKC struggles. They give up a lot of offensive rebounds. So if Gobert is playing today, I absolutely love him. I think he's a really good play. If Gobert gets ruled out, I think Naz Reid is a fantastic play, and Naz Reid would probably be the best value play on the slate. We've seen them play Naz Reid and Rudy Gobert alongside each other a little bit lately, but Naz Reid's minutes would obviously be really good without Gobert. He would probably play, 32, 34 minutes. I know last game when Gobert got ejected, Naz Reid against this OKC team went on to play 30 minutes and put up 49 DraftKings points. So, man, if Rudy Gobert gets ruled out, I know he's going to be really chalky, but Naz Reid is basically like a free square. I would just plug him in and not think twice about it. So love Naz Reid today if Gobert sits. If Gobert plays, I love Gobert today. Really just targeting centers against OKC has been something I've been doing all season. The rest of Minnesota, though, so Anthony Edwards at 8,900. Have a little bit of interest in here. Really good matchup. OKC's been playing at a fast pace this season. We know Anthony Edwards is going to have a really big usage rate, going to play huge minutes without Cat. Obviously, his role would only increase if Rudy Gobert got ruled out, if D'Angelo Russell got ruled out. So it could be a really heavy workload for Anthony Edwards tonight. I'm definitely interested in him at 8,900. D'Angelo Russell, if he plays, he's like okay, but I don't love him. If Russell gets ruled out, we did see Austin Rivers start at point guard last game. I'm guessing Austin Rivers would start again. Even if Austin Rivers starts, I'm not super interested in him. He played 29 minutes last game and literally put up 8 DraftKings points. It's just, he's a really bad permanent producer. I don't even know why he starts. He doesn't really provide anything. Jalen Noel, on the other hand, I think would be the guy worth considering if D'Angelo Russell got ruled out. Now, Jalen Noel was pretty bad last game. He played 25 minutes, had 17 DraftKings points, but I think he'd be the biggest beneficiary in terms of minutes, and he's also a guy that can produce when he gets minutes. He's a guy that can soak up usage. He'll take shots when he's on the floor. He'll handle the ball a lot. He's really cheap as well. So if D'Angelo Russell is out again, really like Jalen Noel for value. There definitely could be some value to go to from this Minnesota team depending on who's actually playing here. But that's probably it for this game. As a mid-range option, don't even hate Kyle Anderson if you want to go there, but I think he feels priced about right on this slate. Let's move on to the next game, though. We got 2 more games to go over. So Portland and Dallas. Starting off with Dallas, I think it's really just Luka, and that's it for me from the Mavericks. Luka against Portland, I think is a fine play here. Luka did go nuclear against Portland earlier this season, put up 83 DraftKings points in 37 minutes. Luka's going to play huge minutes. He's going to carry the offense. He's going to take a ton of shots. I mean, we know what Luka's going to do on a nightly basis. I have no issue going there. We'll have to wait and see what kind of value we get. If value opens up and it's easy to pay up for Luka, I think Luka's one of the best pay-up options just because he offers such a high floor and a high ceiling. But right now, not a priority play just because it is tough to pay 12-3 with minimal value. But we'll have to see what kind of value opens up. Now, on the other side with Portland, really don't like much on Portland today. Dallas plays at a slow pace. They're a good defensive team. Dame, I don't love this matchup against Dallas. I think the price tag feels reasonable at 10-3. We know Dame has upside to pay off this price tag, but he's had some good matchups lately. I think this is definitely kind of a tougher spot. I think Dame could come down to earth a little bit today, and I'm not really that interested in him on this slate. And, Jeremy Grant, Nurkic, none of these guys really stand out either. Really, honestly, in this game, I think it's just Luka, and that's it for me. I don't see too much else I like. So let's go ahead and move on to the last game of the night, the Lakers and the Nuggets. So we'll start off with Denver. I think Denver is pretty straightforward. Probably just Nikola Jokic, and that's it for me. Could see going to Jamal Murray. I know Jamal Murray had a really bad game last game, but I think this is definitely a bounce-back spot for him against the Lakers. Lakers play fast. I know they've been giving up some fancy points to point guards this year. Pretty good matchup for Murray. He's fine at 7K. I think Jokic is definitely the guy that I like most here, though. Going up against Anthony Davis is not the best matchup, but man, Jokic has just been on another level lately. His last 2 games, he's just been going nuclear. 80 DraftKings points against Utah, 82 last game against Washington. Wouldn't expect Jokic to put up 80 again, but I think 55, 60 DraftKings points is on the table every time he steps on the floor. And the Lakers play at a fast pace, so this should be a relatively fast-paced, high-scoring game. I know the Lakers have struggled like on the glass this year. I know they've been giving up a lot of rebounds to centers, and I want to say that Jokic has had some good games in the past against the Lakers. Let's see, when they played earlier this season, what did he do? He put up 54. He put up 68. So he had a 68 DraftKings point game against the Lakers earlier this year. I think Jokic is definitely a strong pay-up option today. Between him or Luka, that's really, really close. I might side with Luka, but that's definitely a close one. I have no issue paying up for Jokic, though. I think he's firmly in play on the slate. Now, on the Lakers side, I don't like much on the Lakers. AD today, I'm not super interested in. I think I'd rather go to Jokic, to Luka, pay down for Trae Young, pay down for SGA. Don't love AD at his salary. Don't love LeBron at his salary. LeBron does feel a little cheap at 9,800, but on a 10-game slate, there's just other guys I think I'd rather pay up for. The rest of the Lakers, I'm pretty much out on. If I was going to consider any Lakers today, it would be either AD or LeBron. But my favorite play in this game is definitely Jokic, and he's the guy that I like most from this game in general. But that'll do it, guys, for this Friday night slate. 10-game slate. Trying to get through it as quickly as I could. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, though. Appreciate you watching. As always, if you guys do enjoy these DFS videos, if they do help you out, again, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. And if you guys are new to the channel, you have not checked out the sponsor of the video, check out PrizePicks. They are the sponsor. You guys can sign up for PrizePicks and use my promo code NOAH. You will get your first deposit matched up to $100 when you do sign up for PrizePicks with my promo code. You can take a look at some of the props that PrizePicks has available right now. Obviously, there's not a ton up as of the time I'm making this video, but once we get closer to the start of the games on Friday night, you'll see a ton of props available. You just choose over or under. You take more or less on a player's projection. You have to make at least 2 picks, but you can make up to 6 picks, and you can win up to 25x your money on PrizePicks. Give them a try. Sign up with code NOAH. Get your deposit bonus when you do sign up. But good luck tonight, guys. Thanks as always for watching the video, supporting the content. Appreciate you guys a ton. We'll see you in the next one.